Welcome back to StorySpin, where we explore the moments that test our hearts and our choices. Today's story touches on love, betrayal, and the complicated ties that linger long after trust is broken. If you've ever had to choose between honoring the past and protecting the present, this one might hit home. Let's get into it. My 40-year-old ex-wife wants me to be with her in her last days. Backstory. I met my ex when we were both 10. She was, still is, my twin sister's best friend. So the three of us were always kind of a trio growing up. We started dating at 14 and got married at 23. Things got ugly, though. 5 years into our marriage, she confessed she'd had a month-long affair with a coworker. The guilt was too much, so she told me everything. We tried to work through it, but after a few months, I realized that even though I still loved her, I couldn't trust her anymore. She told me she still loved me and would wait forever if she had to. She said she'd prove I was the only one. I wanted to believe her, but some things just can't be fixed. We never had kids. 3 years after the divorce, I met my now wife. She's 38, and we got married 2 years later. She's everything I could have dreamed of and more. Meanwhile, my ex, according to my sister, never really recovered. She quit her job and now works in a church. Throughout my relationship with my wife, my ex kept trying to get back together. On the day of my wedding, she told me she still loved me and would never love anyone else. She said that was the last time she'd ever bother me, and apparently she kept her word. My sister says she's never been with anyone since. So here's what happened recently. My wife and I have now been married for 7 years. We have 2 kids. Our daughter is 7, and our son is 3. My sister came over with her kids so the cousins could play. While my wife was out picking up lunch, my sister sat me down. She told me that my ex has less than 6 months to live. She's refusing treatment and wants to live the rest of her time to the fullest. I guess that's why she and my sister went out of their way to travel together, even during the pandemic. And one thing on her bucket list? She wants to feel like my wife again. Not in a sexual or romantic way, she made that clear. No kissing, no intimacy. She just wants me to be around her house again, maybe hold her from time to time. That's it. I told my sister that wasn't happening. That would be emotional cheating, plain and simple. She kept begging me to at least see her, just hear her out. We went back and forth, quietly, since the kids were in the next room, until my wife came back. My sister told her everything. And while my wife looked upset, she said she understood where my ex was coming from. After my sister left, my wife and I talked. She knows everything that happened in the past. She told me that while she isn't thrilled, she wouldn't be upset if I decided to see my ex regularly. My wife is literally the best thing that's ever happened to me. I love her more than anyone. She makes me happier than I ever was, even in the best parts of my first marriage. She knows I'd never cheat, and I believe her when she says she's okay with it. But still, I'm torn. I don't have any romantic feelings for my ex. I don't hate her either, it's just that love is long gone. I haven't seen her properly since my wedding day, and that wasn't a great encounter. I feel like I might regret not seeing her at least one more time. She doesn't have anyone else. Maybe she deserves some peace before she goes. But at the same time, I don't want to do anything that could jeopardize my marriage. Even if my wife says it's okay, I don't know if she'll feel the same once it actually happens. Honestly, I'm not too thrilled about the idea of going either. Any advice? What should I do? Edit. Just to be clear, if I do this, I won't be acting like a husband. No inappropriate behavior. My sister says just sitting with her and sharing a meal would be enough to give her that feeling of being loved again. I wanted to highlight some of the top comments on this one. Top comment: do not do this. This has the potential to backfire and ruin your marriage, or at the very least, put unnecessary strain on it. I know your wife said she'll support whatever decision you make, but trust me, this will affect her. Your ex-wife will be gone, and you'll be left with this weird tension lingering in your marriage. And you have kids. How are you going to explain your absence to them? I'd suggest agreeing to meet your ex for coffee, let her get some closure, then talk with your wife afterward and set clear boundaries. If continuing to talk with your ex as a friend is something you're both comfortable with, great. But your wife needs to stay your #1 priority. This is a sad situation, and I do feel for your ex-wife. But don't risk throwing a wrench into your own happiness. Another top comment. I kind of think this whole thing is really bizarre. I'm also not sure why you would even put your wife in this situation. This woman is your ex for a reason. Yes, it's really sad that she's sick, but what if it isn't true? What if this is just another attempt to get you back? Even if it is real, I would absolutely not play into this husband fantasy. Make a phone call, talk to her, and leave it at that. Honestly, I think you're considering the feelings of the wrong woman here. Sorry if that's a little forward, but there shouldn't even be a decision to make. OP's response. Yes, my wife comes first, above all. Just to clarify, I didn't tell her. My sister did. Also, my ex knows something like this will never work. She promised she wouldn't try anything to win me back after my wedding, and she's actually kept her distance ever since. OP posted his final update 3 weeks later. It's been almost 3 weeks since I posted, and a lot has happened. I got some solid advice from so many of you, especially from those who messaged me with personal experiences. I just want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. So here's what happened. As many of you suggested, I talked to my wife. We had a long, honest conversation about everything. I reassured her that she is, and always will be, my first priority. I told her that while I wanted to say goodbye to my ex, I had no intention of acting like a husband. It would be more like seeing an old childhood friend. I promised I wouldn't spend the night, and that I wouldn't be alone with her. That made her feel a lot more comfortable. She admitted that the first time around, when my sister told her, she'd felt forced into being okay with it. But now, she was genuinely on board. So I talked to my sister next. After a long, heated discussion about what my role would be during the visit, she finally agreed to the boundaries my wife and I had set. A week later, my sister and I went over to the old house, our old marital home. It was surreal. The memories came back, but there wasn't any sadness or hatred, no bitterness, just quiet reflection. My ex was waiting for us in the living room. She cried when she saw me. A few of you thought she might be faking her illness, but it was pretty clear right away that something was wrong. She looked strong, but you could see the illness in her face and movements. I hugged her and we sat down to talk while my sister made lunch. I showed her pictures of my kids and told her stories about what they're like. It felt surprisingly natural, like reconnecting with a long-lost friend. No romantic feelings, just warmth and closure. I walked around the house. It still looked the same as when I left more than a decade ago. I didn't quite know how to feel about the wedding photos still on the walls, but it wasn't my place to say anything. The three of us had lunch together and played board games all afternoon. Honestly, it felt like we were kids again, just hanging out. It was nice. I left around 6. She was sad but understanding. When I hugged her goodbye, she whispered, "I love you," and then said she was happy I'd found the happiness she couldn't give me. That part hit me hard. I fought back tears. I told her I'd see her again soon, and she asked if I could bring my kids next time. I said I would. Then I went home and picked up dinner for my family. I told my wife everything. She was happy about how it went. I think it helped that I brought home her favorite food, but she also agreed to let me bring the kids next time. Overall, seeing my ex again was a great experience. I feel like I needed that, and I know I would have regretted not doing it. Once again, thank you to everyone who gave advice. And please, don't roast my ex too much. She made a mistake, and she paid the price. But that doesn't make her an evil person. Honestly, the way OP handled all of this, it was nothing short of graceful. He stood firm in his loyalty to his wife, made his boundaries crystal clear, and still found a way to offer compassion to someone who, let's be real, didn't exactly earn it. That takes strength, not just the kind that protects a marriage, but the kind that honors the past without letting it rewrite the present. This next story is as heavy as it sounds. Let's get into it. I walked in on my son having sex with my brother's wife. I'm a 44-year-old woman, and I walked in on my 18-year-old son having sex with my 34-year-old sister-in-law, my brother's wife. It happened in a cabin on our property, and I honestly think they've been sleeping together for a while. Here's the backstory. Back in February, my 37-year-old brother moved in with us. He brought his wife and their 2 kids. My husband and I have a large house on a farm. He's a farmer. And we thought it would be a great chance to stay together as a family while everyone was working from home. It also gave the cousins a chance to spend more time together. I have 3 kids. My oldest is 18. He still lives at home. And my daughters are 16 and 13. On the day my brother arrived, my son and I went to buy groceries. He also stopped at the pharmacy to grab gym supplements. When we got back, I noticed 2 packs of condoms in one of his bags, 36 in each, so 72 in total. I just figured he had a girlfriend and wanted to be safe. No big deal. Everything seemed fine. Everyone was getting along well. My son and my sister-in-law would go on early morning runs around the farm. They seemed to have a strong bond, but nothing felt inappropriate at the time. Then last month, I started getting suspicious. They left for their usual morning run, but I was up baking that day, and I never saw them pass by the house. Usually they loop the property, so that stood out to me. When I asked about it, they said they'd decided to hit the road instead. Again, I didn't question it too much. But now I wish I had. Yesterday, everything changed. I was coming home early from a friend's house. The sun wasn't up yet, and it was still a bit dark. I noticed the cabin on our property was open and the light was on. I figured one of the farmhands had forgotten to lock up, so I walked over to switch off the light and close the door. As I got closer, I heard people having sex. I peeked inside, and I saw them, my son and my sister-in-law. I didn't confront them. I was in shock, completely frozen. I haven't told anyone, not my husband, not my brother, not even my son. I've been thinking it through nonstop, and honestly, I'm pretty sure this has been going on for a while. The condoms, the morning runs, their overly close relationship. Now I'm just stuck. I don't know what to do. Should I confront them? Should I tell my brother? Should I tell my husband? I feel sick. I feel betrayed. And I honestly don't know where to go from here. OP also posted an update. First, I want to thank everyone for all the advice I got from my original post. I'm sorry for not replying to any comments. I think I only replied to one. My head was all over the place. I'll try to keep this update short. As many people suggested, I decided to tell my husband first and go from there. At first, he thought it was a joke. But once he realized I was serious, he lost it. We talked it through and decided we should speak to our son before telling my brother. We confronted our son with what I had seen. He already knew something was up. He had seen my Reddit post and put 2 and 2 together. He didn't deny anything. He confessed. He told us he and my sister-in-law had been having sex. He said it started at her birthday party. They both got drunk and hooked up in a bathroom. Since then, they'd been meeting up at hotels and sneaking off together during family gatherings. After his confession, my husband just lost it. He told our son to leave the house immediately and go to our condo in town. He didn't want to see him. Once our son was gone, my husband stormed into my brother's room and told him everything. My sister-in-law wasn't in the house at the time. My brother completely lost it. He packed his things, took his kids, and left. He asked where our son had gone, said he wanted to teach him a lesson. We didn't tell him. Eventually, he just left. My sister-in-law hasn't come back. I think either my brother called her or my son warned her. Maybe she's scared to return. Her things are still here. In all the screaming and shouting, my daughters heard everything. They're devastated. They're terrified this might ruin the family. They miss their brother. They're afraid my husband will never let him back in the house. My husband hates all forms of infidelity. He's always drilled into our older kids that they must never cheat or be with someone who's already in a relationship. I know I didn't do anything wrong in this, but how am I ever supposed to look my brother in the eye again? He won't answer any calls or texts. My husband says to give him time to heal. Our son has now left the condo. He's afraid of what my brother might do to him, and he won't tell us where he's hiding, just that he's staying with a friend. Still no word on my sister-in-law. Info. She was the one who initiated sex the first time. She booked the hotel rooms, bought my son meals. She was even giving him an allowance. What really sticks with me is how fast everyone turned on the son, but no one seemed to hold the sister-in-law accountable. She's the adult, she initiated it, she planned it, and yet she just vanished. No consequences, no confrontation. It's easier to blame the person closest to us, but that doesn't make it fair. What do you think? Was the anger misplaced? Drop your thoughts in the comments.